So with my personal chef clients, I was visiting them once a week and doing prep work to set them up for the week. So I wasn't actually in their home at dinner time cooking for them, but I would go in, say Monday morning, chop some vegetables, mix up some sauces, and then that way, and then leave instructions. So dinner was like very quick and easy and doable. And I realized like, gosh, anyone could do this hour or two of meal prep. And if you want to prioritize your health, like setting aside an hour to set up your week, is manageable. So here's the steps you take.
Thank you so much for joining me for another awesome episode of Bioenergetics Beat. I'm Heather Gray, a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner and certified bioenergetic practitioner. And today is brought to you by NIKKI, Unleash the Wellness Within. It's a non-invasive, easily affordable, highly effective approach to optimize wellness. It's a wearable device that puts frequency, better-based life in your hands and on your wrists. You're going to want to make sure to stick to the very end because, as usual, we have an awesome giveaway you're not going to want to miss out on. But you're not going to want to miss out on one word that my next guest has to say, because we're going to be diving deep into one of my favorite subjects, and it's all about the food, because all too often we're looking for those magic bullets, right? Things like the NIKKI or things like other things, biohacking tools, red light things, which are all great. But if you do not have your foundations dialed in, which food is a foundation. I mean, I worked for a cancer doctor and her patients would see other doctors, and it blew my mind how many times they would tell them it didn't matter what they ate. And that is so far from the truth. It's not even funny. Like it's still just in this day and age, knowing what we know, right? Like it's common sense. But anywho, I'll get off my high horse and I'll let you get on yours. Let's welcome Allison Schaaf. Schaaf?
Schaaf.
Yay. To the show.
You passed your test.
I'm like, sometimes I have the attention span of a gnat and I'm like, I know we just talked about this, but all right, sorry about that. Yes, tell us a little bit about yourself, my dear.
Yeah, so I started out and a chef by background. I started out as a personal chef, helping people in their homes, just because, even as a dietitian, it's like your advice is only so good, right? Like people actually need to take that advice and put it into practice. So I've kind of merged the two and started out cooking for people directly. Soon realized that I put together this system for getting meals on the table, and realize that at the core, that's kind of the key to nutrition, right? Is being able to implement these things that we talk about. So I created a meal planning website where I give people my step-by-step system for getting healthy meals on the table.
Well, why don't we go back a little bit further? Like, what made you want to become a chef? Like let's take us in the way back machine to the beginning. Like, why did you always want to be a chef when you grew up? Did you have, your own like paint a purpose story? Like, tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, no, in high school, and I had an interest in cooking. I enjoyed being in the kitchen. I had grandmothers that loved to cook. I loved being around my family and enjoying this delicious food. I had a mother who, bless her heart, did not enjoy cooking. So part of it was just practical, like, hey, let's eat some better food here. So I just kind of dove right in and started cooking. But when I was looking at choices into going to school, I was really interested also in nutrition. And it was this weird thing where I was like, okay, well, I'm interested in nutrition and I'm interested in cooking, but to me, they should always be, married together, and they never are, right? Or very rarely, right? Like you have these chefs and they don't really care about nutrition. You have these nutritionists, they don't really care about cooking. And in my mind, it's like, well, if you're going to take the time to cook, you want it to be something that's nourishing to your body and, helps you become healthier and feel better and all these things. And same thing, if you're going to tell people how to eat, well, tell them how to do it so that it tastes good and they enjoy eating. So it was kind of like I had this passion for merging the two, where too often I saw that they weren't merged.
Can I get an amen? I can't even tell you how many times I have gone off on that platform on my own sites, because I'm friends with a couple different chefs and it just drives me crazy. It doesn't matter if it's grass fed or not. We prefer corn fed because of the flavor. And I'm like, but no, yes, and no. Like you've got to learn why, how your ingredients work in a person, not just the flavor profile. And so I actually inspired, there was a chef who followed me and she was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. And she went back to school and became a holistic nutritionist, because we kind of have to even take that even more of a step because unfortunately, and don't shoot the messenger, and I have a feeling you probably agree, is
Yes,
dietitian and nutritionists have a tendency to be a little too the food pyramid, which is really what's
exactly.
making everybody sick. So I have a feeling
Yeah.
you have a more functional approach if you're into marrying things to where they work. Is
Yeah,
that
that's a
true?
whole rabbit hole we could go down, but yes.
Okay. I was hoping so. When I was reading your bio this morning, I was like, oh God, I hope we're in alignment. Because if she tells people that, the food pyramid, I think my head will explode.
No.
That's awesome. Um, so man, going into people's houses and being a personal chef, like that's gotta be a bit of a trip in itself. Like, do you have any kind of fun stories from back when you were helping people cook inside their homes?
Oh gosh, fun stories. I think the main thing is it really opened my eyes talking about, the functional medicine route and that sort of thing. I did go to school where, of course, I think they did talk about the food pyramid and it was kind of all these things. And then I got into real life and I saw like what actually worked. And what I found as I was cooking for people is one, because I had the nutrition background, I would, had naturally was like going towards clients who needed some sort of, nutritionally tailored diet. And I started pairing with functional medicine doctors because they saw the need for these people to have a chef that was creating these meals for them. And so it was an interesting journey of like realizing like, oh, there's something to, gluten free, or there is a need for doing an elimination diet. And it opened my eyes to an autoimmune protocol. And so all these different things and seeing firsthand. And so when I created these meal plans, there's certain things that I need, but there's also things that I've created in the meal plans. I just saw there is a need for it. And so, I do have an autoimmune protocol meal plan and things like that because I saw firsthand what a difference diet made in these people's lives and how important it was to kind of follow these guidelines to figure out what worked for them.
Yay, 110%. I
Yeah.
love it. Um, Yeah, I remember sitting at a networking event and there was a dietitian there who just created her own app. And she was like, get healthy, do this without cutting anything out of your diet, type of thing. And I thought my head was going to explode again, because, you just, not all food out there is healthy and you can't have these goals sometimes without having to give certain things up. But that's a whole nother topic. I absolutely love what you're marrying and putting it all together. And it's very, very needed in the world. We're going to take a pause real quick. When we come back, we'll dive deeper into the meat and potatoes of your program, how it works, how it's different than others that may be on the market, kind of where you're located, all that fun
Okay.
stuff. So, if people are listening going, oh my God, yes, I don't even know where to begin. And, even being a functional practitioner, I can't tell you how many times I worked with people who were like, I would say, well, you need to cook. And they'd kind of look at me, and blink with this, deer in the headlights. Cause I did grow up with a mother who cooked, so that was something that was very familiar to me, but it's not so familiar to everybody. So
Mhm.
yeah, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
There's a new word for wellness, NIKKI. NIKKI is your personal wellness companion, a sleek wearable device that lets you choose from a variety of programs to match your day. With a simple tap on the NIKKI screen, you can explore wellness programs created for different moments and lifestyles. Need a lift? Select energy. Looking to unwind? Tap stress and anxiety. Want to feel more at ease? Choose pain. Heading out on a trip? Try travel to help you feel ready for new adventures. From busy mornings to quiet evenings, NIKKI puts a variety of wellness experiences right at your fingertips and on your wrist. Life moves fast. NIKKI moves with you. It's a portable way to bring wellness technology into your everyday routine, wherever life takes you. Your day, your choice, your wellness program. NIKKI Wellness Technology. Delivering frequency enhanced health. We are NIKKI.com.
Woohoo! Welcome back. So I'm excited for her to Allison to dive deeper into the nuts and bolts of your company, how it works, some of the logistical stuff, where you located, who this program is for, and kind of the folks that you help.
Yeah, so Prep Dish I created, gosh, almost 15 years ago. I think we're at 14 years, and I did it alongside having the personal chef business. And One of the key things that I realized, so with my personal chef clients, I was visiting them once a week and doing prep work to set them up for the week. So I wasn't actually in their home at dinner time cooking for them, but I would go in, say Monday morning, chop some vegetables, mix up some sauces, and then that way, and then leave instructions. So dinner was like very quick and easy and doable. And I realized, like, gosh, anyone could do this hour or two of meal prep. And if you want to prioritize your health, like setting aside an hour to set up your week, is manageable. So that's kind of the key with prep dishes. Like, hey, if you want to eat healthy, here's what you do. Here's an easy grocery list. Now we even connect to Instacart. So you don't even have to shop. You just have to click a few buttons. Your groceries arrive. Here's the steps you take. And then here's how you get dinner on the table in as little time as possible, but still have it be food that you can enjoy. Like you can eat healthy and still have foods that you enjoy eating and that are fun and that, you can even, it's funny, a lot of people say with prep dish they enjoy because when they have company, they can use these meals. So it can be, food that you can entertain with even.
That's incredible. So because we are kind of a health-based company, what are some of the different types of health diets that you've worked with? What's some of the kind of successes that you've seen, challenges that you see with people who are trying to get healthier?
Yeah, so one of the core things, so I personally am gluten-free. If I eat gluten, I bloat, I don't feel good. It does not agree with me. So all of the meal plans are either gluten-free or there's one where it's kind of more like optional. We do have a paleo plan that started back because with my personal chef clients, I saw so many people, especially autoimmune type people, that did really well on a paleo diet. So we have one that's paleo. We have one that's gluten-free that does include some grains. We have a low carb plan. And then we've created a super fast plan that was really out of demand of our subscribers of like, look, I need something super quick, super easy that I can feed my family. And so those are ones where it's like the meal prep is an hour or less. We rely heavily on things like pre-chopped vegetables, quick and easy recipes, but just really like family friendly whole foods though, like really avoiding the processed foods. And that can make such a big difference. And yeah, with our clients, I mean, it runs the gamut. I love, now being a mom of four, I love hearing from other moms that are like, oh my gosh, my kids are eating, they're trying salmon now, or gosh, my kid just got diagnosed with dairy allergy, but this food is delicious and my whole family's eating it instead of him like having to eat like his own special foods, So things like that really warm my heart. And then, just any sort of person that has, this health issue, and then they, cut out grains and they've struggled because they just feel like they're limited. And then all of a sudden I'm able to open up what they can eat. I find too often when people get a diagnosis or have to eliminate, say, gluten or dairy or be on a more, what could feel like a restrictive diet, they focus on all the foods they can't eat. And I really try and shift the focus of like, if you have to cut out dairy, there's still so many foods you can eat. You don't need to like recreate dairy. Just do this delicious, dish that just happens to be dairy free.
Yeah, absolutely. Amen. I remember back when I was on an autoimmune diet about 5 years ago again, and I was cooking separately for my ex-husband and his kid at the time than me. And I was like whining, me. I was feeling sorry for myself. And I know better, but thank God he like reframed it. And he was like, oh, but you've lost 10 pounds and, you're no longer in pain. And, isn't that great? And so he helped me reframe it to, remind myself of why I was doing it, feeling grateful for the delicious food that I did have and knowing that it wasn't going to be for forever, and it wasn't, so that reframe is crucial when you're in this beginning step of focusing on what you can have and not what you can't have, because then you're absolutely setting yourself up for disaster.
Yeah. So that's where it's like, hey, look at this menu. It looks delicious. Oh, and by the way, it happens to be healthy and not include all these ingredients.
Right. So how do you get away from like a lot of the preservatives and artificial stuff? Are they frozen meals or how does it get?
I'm sending the plans. So I am sending the plans. You're ordering the groceries, you're ordering real foods. One thing I have learned in my career is I have stayed away from doing packaged foods for people. One, so I can avoid food costs. So anytime you're doing pre-packaged meals, any sort of delivery, I've consulted on those sort of projects. You always run into the issue of food costs. So they're always going to be less healthy because you're trying to, work around food costs. So with these, it's like, here's the grocery list. You can go to the grocery store. And because you have the list, you can make substitutions. You can decide, where it's important to, bioorganic or not and that sort of thing. So yeah, we're really holding your hands, but we're not sending you the food. We're sending you the Instacart link so you can buy the food on your own.
Thank you. So that's how you can work with
Yes.
anybody anywhere as well. So that way, yeah, because you don't have to worry about shipping and food, and God bless them. And it is a step up for a lot of families to do
Yes.
these, but I'm also, because I've gone just further down the rabbit hole, I'm not a fan of, the plastic and then heating it up in the microwave. I'm like, you just took an organic meal, threw it in plastic and heated it up in the microwave. I'm like, oh my God, what's wrong with this picture? But again, a lot of times it's still going to be a step in the right direction from eating, preservative artificials, not whole real food. So there's definitely a spectrum. And I have a tendency to be the kind of pull the Band-Aid off girl and do it all at once. And I, again, found out that not everybody operates that way.
Yeah, no, I really try and teach people, okay, here is how you cook and keep it simple in the beginning. Something like roasted green beans with some olive oil and salt and pepper. Oh my gosh, my family loves those. I love those. Like I've learned I have to double up on those because we love them so much. And just like all of these whole foods can be so delicious if you just keep it simple and then maybe add, a sauce here or there. But with the sauces, again, like not going to something out of a jar, but just taking some herbs and oil and citrus and blending it together. And that is so much more delicious than anything that comes in a jar.
Oh my gosh. Homemade salad dressings are the easiest, and mayo, some of the easiest things that you can make. And they are ridiculously delicious. Like I still can't get over how amazing they are. I just recently moved to Mexico and I'm still shocked because their food is different than our food in America. It's not as toxic. They don't allow a lot of the GMOs and the fresh ingredients they use. I mean, simple taco stands. I mean, this looks like 4 ingredients and you take a bite and it's just exploding with this amazing flavor. Like I can't get over how delicious the food are here. And they're not using a bunch of crap and preservatives and other things. So it's just getting back down to the basics sometimes can be just, I mean, people discount it because it seems too easy or, you know what I mean? But really that's where a lot of the magic lies.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think deep down, people know that when it comes to health and nutrition, it really can be simple and they know what they need to do. But there's so many outside voices and things and products and this and that. And it's like, no, at the end of the day, and it should be simple. Simpler is sometimes it's going to taste better, it's going to be healthier. And sometimes it's just having that guiding, hand to say, okay, here's where to start.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I tell my clients all the time, if you don't recognize an ingredient label on a list, neither does your body, and then it causes inflammation and causes, leaky gut and all kinds of other issues. So going back to the basics, I think that's just in general with our health crisis these days, is because we've gotten away from the basics. Food is now fast and it really shouldn't be fast. We've got artificial light that can keep us up till 2 o'clock in the morning, and we really shouldn't be up till 2 o'clock in the morning. So it is amazing how things can shift when we dial back in the foundations.
Yeah, no, I know I feel like now it's so easy to order takeout. And that is one of the reasons I really like the meal prep idea. Because if you're prepping some of your ingredients beforehand, when it gets time for dinner, you're way less likely to order takeout. 'Cause you're like, oh, I already chopped my carrots and I already mixed together that chimichurri. I don't want to dial takeout. This is actually going to come together quicker. And I've already put in the effort. So I don't want to like do that. So you kind of it's like, how do you set yourself up for success? And I think a lot about that over the years with Prep Dish. I'm like, how do you create these habits, right? Like, how do you create the habits of like, hey, I'm a person that preps my meals and does my meals from scratch. And how do I do that? And how do I make it happen on a weekly basis?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, hey, we're getting close to the shameless plug time of the show. So where can people find more information about you?
Yeah, so the website is Prep Dish. I'm on social media at Prep Dish. I do have a podcast called Meal Prep Monday. And then I've set up a special offer. It's a 2-week free trial at prepdish.com/NIKKI, NIKKI. So if people want to try out Prep Dish, even just try it out for a few weeks to see how the system works. If you're doing meal plan on your own, you might pick up some tips and tricks there. So prepdish.com/NIKKI for 2 weeks free.
That's incredible. Also, make sure to go to wearenikki.com/podcast, enter in BioBeats to get 10% off a NIKKI. And because we really love our customers, the way that we show appreciation, we want to give a NIKKI device away. as well as a wellness set of frequencies on every show. That's a $598 value. So make sure to go to the show notes to find out how to enter and check out Allison's company as well. You know, if you're one of those that we're like beginning, I don't even know where to start, or even somebody who's been doing this for a little while, but, you know, maybe could use to freshen up or have some new ideas, you know, to get inspired, I highly recommend checking it out. Thank you so much for joining us today, and have a healthy day.
NIKKI Wellness Technology. Delivering frequency enhanced health.
It's got so many options. I'm just going to go over, it's like a menu that you can choose. It's so easy to use. You just click on what you like. For example, it's got travel, pain relief, energy boost, allergies, trying all the frequencies.
This is my NIKKI. It is a bioenergetic wearable that works by emitting a specific frequency carried by a red light, as you can see on the back. It's aimed at enhancing the body's natural healing process to improve wellness and reducing stress, pain, and inflammation. And to select a frequency, you tap it to wake it up, and then you slide to the screens that list the different frequencies. I have wellness or Lyme on mine. So if we want to pick one, we just tap on it, and you'll see the circles around, and there's a play button, play areas, tap there, and you can see the colors radiating that show that it's playing, and you would also see the red light on the back. And to stop, you just tap it again, and then you can slide and select a different frequency. I'm going to play afternoon. And you just tap, and away you go for your afternoon.
So there are two different things. You have the NIKKI device, and then you have the frequency sets. And so right now they have the wellness set of frequencies, and they have the Lyme set of frequencies, and both of them are absolutely incredible. I use both sets on a regular basis, so I absolutely love them.
NIKKI Wellness Technology. Delivering frequency enhanced health. We are NIKKI.com. The views, information, and opinions expressed in this content are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of Freemedica. Freemedica Technologies, Inc. and its employees are not responsible, nor verifies accuracy any of the information contained in the following content. The primary purpose of this content is to educate and inform. This content does not constitute medical or other professional advice or services.